Fellas, you know Degree Cool Rush deodorant, right? Well, last year they changed the formula, and guys were mad about it. One dude even started a petition. So guess what? Degree heard us, admitted they messed up, and brought the original Cool Rush scent back exactly how it was. And it's in Walmart, Target, and other stores now for under $4. So grab some and remember why its cool, crisp, and fresh scent made it the #1 men's antiperspirant for the last decade. Degree Cool Rush is back, and it smells like victory for all of us.
Don't go anywhere. We're going to have a quick word from one of our sponsors, Apex Lab. Elevate your coffee experience with Apex Lab mineral concentrates. Apex Lab's precision-engineered formulas, including tonic, jam, and lilac, are designed to enhance the coffee's natural flavors. Not going to change it, it's just going to enhance it. It's going to bring out the vibrant acidity, the rich sweetness, or if you use lilac, it might bring out those delicate floral notes that you've been looking for. Trusted by world-class cafes and even barista champions, Apex Lab helps you unlock your coffee's full potential. Discover more at apexlab.com. Wait, where was that again, Sonam?
The internet.
Oh, okay. Thought he was going to say the website. Thanks. Today's episode is brought to you by our amazing sponsors at Eco Barista. The reason I sound like this is because they got massages at our stand at Mice, and so I'm getting a massage while recording this message for you. They're the best sponsor of the pod that we could have had. They have the best eco products. This probably sounds really pornographic, but it's not. I'm just getting a massage. They have the best eco-friendly coffee products. They got coffee bags that you can design yourself. They got cups. They got iced coffee cups. They got everything you need. So make sure to support them because they support us. Head to ecobarista.com.au and get 15% off your first purchase when you sign up. Oh, mama, that's good.
This is another coffee break with It's Just Coffee Gang. You got Sonam here, you got Liam here, and we're fresh out of a pretty insane chat about macroeconomics and what it actually means, kind of the broad strokes about why a coffee costs so much and what actually is behind the scenes. But like all of our coffee breaks, we are actually going to start with an AeroPress because this is a coffee break. I am going to be going for the World Championship position of an AeroPress, or at least compete.
Did you call yourself an AeroPresser? I'm going to be the World Champion AeroPresser.
Yeah, that's the goal. That is the goal. Today's recipe was far more, I don't want to say convoluted, but it was just more detailed than usual.
It was episodic, wasn't it?
It was indeed. So we actually had the Condesa collab. It was the Peru one as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's the Peruvian coffee, yeah.
Yeah. So this one was a bit different because we pre-filtered and pushed through the water. So you pre-wet and clean up the AeroPress. And then, basically, it was 17 grams. We hand ground them. And then I put it in a non-inverted way. So the old traditional way. And we splashed a bit of water in there and then chucked in the coffee after. And then filled it up. And then, interestingly, we pushed through and left a quarter of the coffee in the actual cylinder. So we only get the first, kind of 3/4 of the first push. It was very like a V60, a pour over. It was very gentle.
This is delicious.
I'm about to try it. Let's see it.
This is a great pour.
Is this a World Championship pour?
You are now an AeroPresser, Liam. You're a genuine AeroPresser.
That genuinely is good.
That's a great coffee. I think the coffee itself was very good, but I think the recipe really does the coffee justice. Holy moly.
I was surprised because it actually took
way too long.
Way too long, yeah. That was like a good old 10 min.
Yeah, what is
just setting it up.
Is this a natural? What does it come? Look at the tin. Sorry.
Yeah.
Let's have a look. So the farmer is David Flores, and it's Finca El Morito. Beautiful. Special release from Condesa. Oh, that they made for us. Oh, and it's roasted in Melbourne. Love that. Everything it's saying on the packet is true. That's for sure. I'm getting.
I really like this.
Yeah, I'm getting all those figs, the black cherry, the molasses. I'm getting.
Also, mouthfeel.
The mouthfeel is exceptional. Second to none.
Delish.
So how do you feel, man? I felt like Billy Madison just then. Far out. that was an absolute lesson.
Yeah.
Early lesson.
Yeah, it's an early lesson for a insanely big topic. And I think we've put, the first one down we achieved. It was like, how do we approach this huge topic? And Ollie kind of steered the ship for us, I'm actually, it's given, I now have more questions to ask. And, off camera, he was like, we'll get there. So, this is going to be a fantastic series to approach.
Yeah, he definitely hung the lure out, didn't he? And he's like, don't worry, I've got one. He's got one for the mark. So for C Market, the next topic that we're going to tackle, he's given us a couple of early hooks that we're quite interested in following up and learning more about. And he's going to also, as he said during that episode, we'll level 1, or maybe we're even preparatory or prior to that. He was already starting to do a bit of you can have some access to level 4 Emilio if you're lucky.
Emilio's out. He's the boss,
he's the trader's trader. He's your favorite trader's favorite trader. That's where he's at. Yeah. He's doing a real good job of things. So I think maybe we'll just quickly, I know I did a recap at the end of the episode and spoke about a few things, especially just touching on all the milestones that we'd covered in terms of the C price, the environment, the demand and supply and demand, and then logistics, and also what Ollie's opinion was when it came to the future of coffee. It's funny how I'm going to start with automation. It's funny how most people that we talk to, I'm not going to say they default, but we end up talking a lot about automation on this pod, don't we?
For real. Mm-hmm. We're always talking about like tech advances and automation in software from the back end with roasters or to the actual hardware of things being created like the Wally.
Yeah, and it's funny that most people within the industry are talking about let's get the automation in more so than let's keep the artistry there, let's keep doing this, let's keep doing all that other thing that allows us to understand what's going on. But in terms of actually, the artistry and the maker and all those little things that we all associate with coffee, and everybody keeps defaulting to automation. It's insane, isn't it?
No, it's one of those things. It's like, automation and making things easier. Obviously, there'll be more consumption. And it was definitely a thought process that I went through. It's like just having more available, you have more than there's even more demand. Is that a good thing? And if we bring it back to like automation and being able to like supply a good service, what's the important part here? And
it's the knowledge. It's what happened with Ollie just then. It's about understanding why your coffee costs more. It's about understanding, hey, it's not all going to the farmer. It's about understanding that there's so many other impacts. And I think that was one thing that was nice to touch on was the environment as well. And hey, the environment's having a massive impact, or what's happening to the environment through climate change is having a massive impact. So looking at all the inputs there, and the farmers are at the coalface, they're the ones that are feeling the impacts of global warming more than anybody else. And yet they're the ones footing the sustainability mantra more than anything else. It's like, well, you got to be sustainable. You got to listen, you got to work towards our principles and our guidelines and what our company says that you have to do in order to become a valued and valuable trade partner.
It's also when it comes to the farms, I don't think I've ever had a coffee where I've actually thought about, and this is bad on my part, but also I guess an honest kind of look at how, like the story behind the coffee, but whether or not it's coming from, Ollie talked about it, whether it's coming from a farm that is on a scale that is just not even human. They're using, it's corporate, huge, like there's machines helping them like strip the trees versus the like homegrown small farm where the guy, like, it's handpicked and all those things, like actually being able to tell where it's from and who's actually, with the amount of love that goes into it. And I'm not saying that like it being picked on a mass scale is worth less than the hand-grown thing, like hand-picked situation. But I think the story behind it is important.
Definitely. And the other key takeaway was, maybe we should just change our consumption behavior and drink coffee that's from, a closer region. I was at the cupping table at Rumble the other day, and we tried a heap of Papua New Guinea coffees that they got from a exporter at Mice, and some amazing coffees on the table. And they're definitely looking at getting some more in. So I think that's going to help us reevaluate what we're doing here at Golden Brown in terms of what we're bringing in as well. I think we probably need to, I know we spoke about getting some more Australian coffees in. I went up to Zenfels to try and see what we could get out with them. They had an incredibly low harvest last year, which is really tragic. That's always just going to be the case. We're going to have volatility of, different yields, but if you can change your consumption behavior, and if anybody's listening that's got some great closer to Melbourne coffees for us to try, like anything from Papua New Guinea or Indonesia or even India, love to have them, love to try them on the pod and, really champion all those things that are available out there.
think that's such an amazing takeaway. It's also like we've talked about this on the pod, but putting the right information on the bags. So like I always thought that, an aged coffee is actually good. Finding that sweet spot flavor-wise should be on the packaging, 3 weeks for like it will, there's a supreme bit. But I think now that carbon footprint and how much effort it's taken to get that product to you and where it's from should be like front and center. We should celebrate and like have that as just an eye point, across the board.
And, Ollie was very good in telling us how much of, what part was his opinion and what part was the company's opinion. And we know there's a lot of people with different stories and different approaches to the C market, to C price, to trading coffee. I would love for anybody that wants to come and talk to us, that would want to share something and their point of view on the market and what that could look like for us, so we get a better understanding of the diversity across it, not just from an importer/exporter point of view, even from a logistics point of view. I'd love to know all about it. I think it's a greater learning for me here is there's so many factors that come into it, and I want to know about them all.
For sure. I really, from the farming where they're like splitting their, fields with different things that they're growing to navigate, bad harvests or like something else growing in certain conditions, all the way to like jumping on a ship. How does like the small guy or the big guy deal with ship containers that are taking twice the length to get here? Crazy.
So that was a great recap, and I'm looking forward to doing more of those podcasts. Hopefully I'll still be here when that happens. So that brings up the topic of the host.
Dun, dun,
we may have a host trialing very shortly. So if anybody's listening and wants more from the host or wants something from the host, please send through any of your parameters that would make a great host. And then I can, look at it and be like, Liam, what did you think? Did they do this? Because the people want this. The people don't want that. It'd be great to know that. And so what you will see is a bit of diversity coming through the chair over the next few weeks. We're going to be trialing some people because, you're not going to just, cement the first person. They may or may not be the right person, but we're looking for that person that can help you navigate coffee, navigate your understanding of coffee, but also, pique your interest and entertain you while we're going through it.
It's true. No one that's going to be jumping on any of the seats at this table are going to be less than fantastic. So, even just getting them through, I'm excited. So only good things.
Yeah, definitely only good things. And then also, I know every time we're on a coffee pot, like every time we're on a coffee break, we always tease about who's coming on, but there's a big, juicy one that we just got. Big coffee company. Big coffee company.
God.
They have relaunched into Australia very successfully. Turns out their HQ is just up the road from our podcast center.
For real?
Yeah, for real.
I didn't know that.
Wow. This is serendipity.
To the point that I actually took a screenshot of our Instagram when a certain company reached out. It was a pinch me moment. It was like, wait a second, what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, these guys set the tone for coffee in the world, and they have a massive impact in how the coffee's bought, how the coffee's presented, and how people are consuming it, and the narrative around coffee as well. So I think this is going to make for an amazing podcast, and we won't talk about it just yet until I've signed that they're definitely coming in, but they're definitely coming in. But you know what I mean.
We were going through mice, and we actually, the narrative behind questions that had pertained to them actually surprised me. So I think that'll be a perfect kind of timeline to drop a few of the interviews from mice, because we haven't dropped them yet.
Oh, I remember that question. Yes. Most of them were surprisingly positive, weren't they?
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, a lot of thank yous, wasn't there?
Yeah, it's funny. Again, we can't tell you who this is, but, I was surprised because this certain company has a bit of a reputation for not having the most consistent quality or specialty kind of approach to coffee. But all of the personalities and huge roasters, companies and everything actually thanked them for almost paving the way into specialty coffee.
100%. Yeah. It wouldn't have happened without them, that's for sure.
Yeah.
So we look forward to doing some work with them and having the chat as well.
And to actually tell you who they are.
Yeah, and one day we'll tell you who they are. When they come on, we'll tell you that.
One day you'll know a host. One day you'll know this company.
And I've got a sneaking suspicion we might see Rohan back.
We sure will.
I think he's back.
He's back, baby?
Yeah, I think he's back. Well, he's going to have some great news. He's also got someone else that he wants to interview that's also having some great news or had great news at the same time. So there could be a very, very particular way we talk about or approach that conversation, which could be quite funny.
I think it will be themed.
You think it'll be themed?
I think
there will be a
There's
theme.
got to be a celebration to get him back.
Hey, also speaking of themes and episodes, we've started pushing the podcast more towards episodic and series-based conversations like we have just had with about the Sea Prize. If there's anything that anybody wants to talk about or deep dive more into, let us know because we're happy to splinter or fracture out the podcast into a few more series so that we can start top line and work our way deeper and deeper and deeper into some of these more complex topics because we know that sometimes there's nothing available in terms of your communications or, resources. Even when we finished that pod just then and we spoke to Ollie and he's like, what can we look at? He goes, look at bar chart. And it's like, well, they're just numbers, mate. It's still not going to exactly spell it out for us, unless we do an apprenticeship or we study somewhere. We're not going to get that for us. So, we don't want to rely on ChatGPT and Google for everything and Wikipedia for our knowledge. We want actually insightful knowledge. So if there's anything you can't find and you want to learn more about, please contact us. Let us know what you want to hear about and we'll get it done for you.
Or even like friction points, whatever kind of part or sector in your world, there's friction points. Like even if it's as small as like my workflow, I think it'd be really cool to
knuckle down. Yeah.
Yeah. Tell us where you're having like issue points and we can actually do a little we'll find someone that can talk about it and we can try and unpack it a little bit more, 100%.
Nice. And then just because we do it. Any funny stories recently, Liam?
Funny stories from me. No, you start. Surely. Surely you got one in the chamber.
I've got a great one. So we've got a very, 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 very enthusiastic employee here at the media business. He started his own camping channel on TikTok recently. Within the first 8 videos, smack, hits 1 million views on one of the videos. Instagram, he's got one that's over 300,000. Smack. This guy is an authority in 2 weeks. He's already got Yahoo Lifestyle hitting him up. He's had 2 newspaper articles, and by newspaper I mean like online digital articles, about his camping hacks. So if anybody wants to follow more about camping, is the Instagram and TikTok handle is Sam Lives Outside. And it is an amazing insight into this guy's brain. But you know what? That's an amazing story.
I think that's a proof point. Also, just from the media place here, it's like, hey, from the get-go, just
definitely
apply the goods and the goods come,
Yeah. I mean, look, if every client gave us that sort of freedom to be like, here you go, open style that you do what you want, we trust you. This Sam Lives Outside use case scenario could not be any greater.
Yeah, it's amazing. I haven't really got any crazy stories for you. I, just came from moving house. And so we're living in boxes right now. So I'm excited to finally set up the space.
You've unpacked your grand piano though, surely.
Sure have. That was the first thing in the house, literally. So I am looking forward to making a haven.
I'm looking forward to seeing some music coming out of the house. I'm looking forward to some, some really heavy keys.
Yeah. That's been happening.
Well, as always, this was just a break. So get back to work, do your thing, or get back to life, or, if it's whatever afternoon you're listening to this or evening you're listening to this, get back to life.
Yeah.
Thanks for stopping by.
I hope your Easter was amazing. I hope you had some chocolate. I hope you're feeling good. Speaking of chocolate, I think we're going to have a figurehead coming through to talk about the chocolate world and the insane kind of, we talk about coffee here, but, the hot brother of coffee is that smooth, sweet, delicious thing called chocolate. So, yeah, it's going to be a hot topic that we hit very soon.
That's going to be so exciting. I'm really looking forward to that. Hopefully, I'm still around for that one.
It's as if
you're put me down.
Yeah, I know. I hope I make it that far. Yeah,
I joke. So we won't joke about it.
No. He'll be around. I'll just make it come on. But thank you so much for coming through, guys. Email us at hello@itsjustcoffeepod.com. We'll get back to you soon. And excited to hear from you. And again, eat more chocolate. Love a breakout.